Imagine hearing about people who mocked Jesus Christ and suffered terrible consequences in their lives. Today, we will explore the stories of 10 individuals who dared to disrespect Jesus, his power, and his divinity, and who faced dire situations as a result. Let's begin. Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga, one of the most iconic and influential pop stars of the 21st century, has consistently pushed the boundaries of art, fashion, and music. Renowned for her bold statements and provocative performances, she has never shied away from controversy. Among her many contentious actions, her comments and images perceived as blasphemous have sparked significant backlash, particularly from religious communities. In 2010, Lady Gaga released the music video for Alejandro, which was laden with religious symbolism that many found offensive. The video depicted Gaga dressed as a nun, swallowing rosary beads, and wearing a red latex outfit reminiscent of a religious habit. This provocative use of Catholic imagery incited outrage among religious groups who accused her of blasphemy and disrespecting sacred symbols. Bill Donahue, president of the Catholic League for Religious and Civil Rights, was especially vocal, condemning the video as a ploy to garner attention by mocking religious beliefs. The reaction was intense. Religious leaders and communities called for boycotts of her music, and debates about the limits of artistic freedom and respect for religious values dominated media discussions. Lady Gaga, known for her uncompromising stance, defended her artistic choices, asserting that her work was a commentary on social issues and was not intended to offend. However, the damage to her reputation among certain groups was already done. Despite the controversy, Lady Gaga continued to incorporate religious themes into her work. Her 2011 album Born This Way included the song Judas, in which she portrayed a character torn between Jesus and Judas. This song also faced criticism from religious conservatives who viewed it as another attempt to sensationalize and disrespect their faith. The impact of Lady Gaga's controversial statements and actions extended beyond public outrage. In the years following these incidents, she faced a series of personal and professional challenges. Her 2013 album Art Pop did not perform as expected, receiving mixed reviews and disappointing sales compared to her previous successes. Additionally, Gaga struggled with chronic pain due to fibromyalgia, which forced her to cancel several tour dates and take a hiatus from her music career. The intense scrutiny and backlash may have contributed to these personal and professional difficulties, serving as a reminder of the power and impact of words and actions in the public sphere. Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson, born Brian Hugh Warner, is a controversial and polarizing figure in the music and entertainment industry. Renowned for his shocking style and provocative performances, Manson often delves into dark and taboo subjects in his music, challenging societal and religious norms. His defiant stance towards religion, particularly Christianity, has made him a target of criticism and concern among many religious groups. Born on January 5, 1969, in Canton, Ohio, Brian Warner adopted the stage name Marilyn Manson by combining the names of actress Marilyn Monroe and serial killer Charles Manson. This choice of names symbolizes the duality between glamour and horror, recurring themes in his work. Manson quickly gained notoriety in the 1990s with his album Antichrist Superstar, which was both a commercial success and a source of controversy. Marilyn Manson has made numerous public statements and actions that many consider blasphemous. He frequently criticizes Christianity and other religions, using religious symbols in subversive ways during his performances. His music and image are seen by many as a direct attack on Christian values. For instance, in several interviews, Manson has declared that he views organized religion as a form of social and psychological control, openly expressing his disdain for it. One of the most infamous incidents involving Manson and religion occurred during the Antichrist Superstar tour. During a show, Manson tore up a Bible on stage, an act widely condemned as a disrespectful attack on Christianity. This behavior only served to cement his reputation as an avowed enemy of the Christian faith. However, Marilyn Manson's life offstage has also been marked by controversy and personal difficulties. Over the years, he has faced multiple accusations of abusive behavior, including allegations of physical and emotional abuse by several women who were in relationships with him. These accusations further tarnished his public image and led to investigations and legal actions. In 2021, actress Evan Rachel Wood and several other women accused Manson of abuse, leading to a series of investigations and the termination of contracts by his record labels and management agencies. Manson denied the allegations, but the claims significantly impacted his career and reputation. His dismissive attitude towards the criticism and lack of public remorse exacerbated the situation, further fueling the perception of his disconnect from moral and spiritual values. The fall of Marilyn Manson from a rock icon to a discredited and controversial figure serves as a cautionary tale about the potential consequences of a life marked by the rejection of spiritual and moral values. While many of his fans continue to support him, viewing him as a victim of censorship and injustice, others see his trajectory as an example of the price one pays for flagrantly challenging social and religious norms. Rasputin. Grigory Efimovich Rasputin, a controversial figure in Tsarist Russia, is often remembered as a prime example of how arrogance and the misuse of spiritual power can lead to tragic consequences. Born into a peasant family in Siberia in 1869, Rasputin rose to power and influence at the court of Tsar Nicholas II, playing a crucial role in the final years of the Russian Empire. His life, marked by scandals and manipulations, culminated in a violent and infamous end, reflecting human frailty and the futility of arrogance in the face of divine forces and history. Rasputin began his life as an ordinary peasant but soon became a mystic and wanderer, gaining fame as a healer and holy man. He believed he had divine powers to cure illnesses and foresee the future, which led to his veneration by many and skepticism and disdain from others. In 1905, Rasputin's growing renown brought him to the court of Tsar Nicholas II, where he was introduced to Tsarina Alexandra Fyodorovna. Desperate to find a cure for her son, Tsarevich Alexei, who suffered from hemophilia, Alexandra turned to Rasputin. Allegedly, Rasputin managed to alleviate Alexei's suffering on several occasions, earning the unwavering trust and devotion of the Tsarina. Over time, Rasputin became a central figure in the Russian court, influencing political and religious decisions. His closeness to the royal family and his apparent ability to manage the Tsarevich's illness granted him extraordinary power, which he often wielded arbitrarily and selfishly. Many nobles and clergy members saw Rasputin as a threat, a charlatan eroding the integrity of the Russian monarchy with his questionable practices and pernicious influence over the Tsarina. Rasputin's arrogance and belief in his invincibility led to numerous controversies. He was notorious for his libertine behavior and involvement in sexual and corruption scandals. Russian society grew increasingly alarmed at how he seemed to control the Tsar and Tsarina. The press and public opinion began portraying Rasputin as a symbol of the decadence and corruption permeating the imperial court. Rasputin's downfall began to take shape as his influence became unsustainable. In 1916, a group of Russian nobles, led by Prince Felix Yusupov and Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich, decided that Rasputin had to be eliminated to save Russia from imminent collapse. In December of that year, Rasputin was lured to Yusupov's palace with the promise of meeting the prince's wife. There, he was poisoned with cyanide, but the poison did not have the intended effect. Desperate, the conspirators shot him, but Rasputin resisted. Only after being beaten and thrown into the Neva River was his body finally found dead. Rasputin's death was seen by many as an act of divine justice and a harbinger of the end of the Romanov dynasty. His life and death symbolized the dangers of arrogance and the abuse of spiritual power. Rasputin believed he was above the laws of men and God, but his tragic end serves as a reminder that no one is invulnerable to divine judgment and the forces of history. Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin, a name that requires no introduction, is celebrated globally as the father of the theory of evolution by natural selection. His groundbreaking work revolutionized biology and had a profound impact on both science and society. However, his life and ideas were not without controversy, particularly regarding their religious implications. Many perceived Darwin as a figure who mocked religion and divine creation, sparking a series of adverse reactions throughout his life. Charles Robert Darwin was born on February 12, 1809, in Shrewsbury, England. From a young age, he exhibited a keen interest in nature, which led him to study medicine and later theology at Cambridge. Yet it was his voyage aboard the HMS Beagle from 1831 to 1836 that provided him with the essential observations that would culminate in his theory of evolution. In 1859, Darwin published On the Origin of Species, a work that challenged the traditional view of divine creation by proposing that all species of life evolved over time from common ancestors through the process of natural selection. The publication of On the Origin of Species was met with a mix of scientific enthusiasm and religious fury. Many Christians viewed Darwin's work as a direct affront to the biblical scriptures, which describe the creation of the world and its living beings by God in 6 days. Darwin was accused of ridiculing religion by offering a naturalistic explanation for the diversity of life, which eliminated the need for a divine creator. This clash between science and religion placed Darwin at the heart of one of the most intense debates of his time. Darwin's response to the conflict between his theory and religious faith was complex. He never declared himself an atheist, but rather an agnostic, asserting that the existence of God was beyond human understanding. Nonetheless, many interpreted his theory as a rejection of the idea of a creator, leading to a series of personal and professional attacks. Darwin's later years were marked by health problems. He suffered from a range of debilitating symptoms, including nausea, vomiting, severe abdominal pain, and anxiety attacks, which the doctors of his time could not accurately diagnose. Some modern theories suggest he might have suffered from a chronic illness like irritable bowel syndrome or Chagas disease, while others speculate that his symptoms were exacerbated by the stress and pressure from the controversies surrounding his work. Many believers saw Darwin's physical suffering as divine retribution for his work, interpreting his poor health as a sign of celestial disapproval. Despite these adversities, Darwin remained steadfast in his scientific convictions until his death on April 19, 1882. Following his death, Darwin was buried in Westminster Abbey, one of the highest British honors, which stirred even more controversy given the opposition of his ideas to Christian doctrine. For some, his burial in such a revered place was seen as a final insult to religious faith. Richard Dawkins. Richard Dawkins, one of the world's most famous evolutionary biologists, is widely known for his incisive critiques of religion and his vigorous defense of atheism. Born on March 26, 1941, in Nairobi, Kenya, Dawkins spent most of his life in the United Kingdom, where he developed his ideas and gained international notoriety. Throughout his career, he has been a controversial figure, often accused of mocking religious beliefs and spirituality. Dawkins achieved worldwide fame with the publication of his book The Selfish Gene in 1976, where he introduced the idea that genes are the fundamental units of natural selection. This work revolutionized evolutionary biology and laid the foundation for his successful career as a science writer. However, it was his book, The God Delusion 2006, that placed him at the center of a storm of debates about religion and science. In this book, Dawkins argues that belief in God is a delusion and that organized religion is harmful to society. He harshly criticizes what he considers the evils of religion, including intolerance, violence, and the suppression of critical thinking. Dawkins views religion as a divisive and dangerous force that promotes ignorance and superstition. In his lectures and public debates, Dawkins often ridicules sacred texts and religious figures, arguing that science offers a more rational and evidence-based worldview. This provocative stance has earned him both ardent admirers and severe critics. Dawkins also founded the Richard Dawkins Foundation for Reason and Science, which aims to promote scientific thinking and secularism. The foundation supports educational initiatives that encourage skepticism and critical inquiry, and it funds programs aimed at reducing the influence of religion in politics and education. Despite his significant contributions to science and rational thought, Dawkins' life has not been free of controversies and difficulties. His aggressive stance on religion has earned him many enemies and criticisms. He has been the target of personal and professional attacks and often faced intense media scrutiny. In 2016, Dawkins suffered a severe stroke, which temporarily incapacitated him and raised questions about his future as a communicator and advocate for atheism. Although he has recovered and continues to participate in public events, the stroke was a reminder of human vulnerability. Rammstein. Rammstein is a German industrial metal band known for their extravagant and provocative live performances. Formed in 1994, the band quickly gained notoriety not only for their powerful music, but also for their frequent use of controversial themes and shocking imagery. Many of the band's lyrics address dark themes, including death, violence, and sexuality, often in ways that some consider blasphemous or offensive. Rammstein's provocative stance has led to several controversies over the years. The band has been accused of mocking religion and religious figures. A notable example is the song Hallelujah, which deals with a pedophile priest and harshly criticizes the hypocrisy within the Catholic Church. Their live performances often include images of burning crucifixes and other religious symbols in disturbing contexts, drawing criticism from religious and conservative groups. Despite their popularity, Rammstein has faced several negative consequences due to their provocative actions. In 2009, following the release of the album Liebe ist für alle da, the band faced censorship in their home country. The German government classified the album as harmful to minors, claiming it promoted violence and inappropriate behavior, resulting in a ban on selling the album to anyone under 18. Additionally, the song Ich tu dir weh was temporarily banned from live performances in Germany due to its explicit content. The band has also faced legal difficulties in other countries. In 2013, band members were briefly detained in Russia for allegedly promoting homosexuality during their performances, an act considered illegal under Russian laws at the time. The provocative nature of their live shows, which often include the use of pyrotechnics and explicit enactments, has led to several shows being canceled or heavily criticized. The repercussions of Rammstein's actions have also impacted the mental health of the band members. Till Lindemann, the lead singer, has spoken openly about his struggles with depression and the stress resulting from living under constant public scrutiny. The pressure to maintain their bad boy image and the need to continuously outdo their extreme performances have taken a significant emotional toll. In addition to legal and personal challenges, Rammstein has also faced tragedies during their live performances. In 1998, during a show in Berlin, a pyrotechnic incident caused injuries to several fans, leading to severe criticism regarding the safety of their performances. These incidents have fueled further controversy around the band, with many questioning the necessity of such risks in the name of entertainment. George Carlin. George Carlin, an American comedian known for his sharp wit and biting critique of religion, often mocked religious beliefs and questioned the existence of God in his shows. Carlin not only challenged religious dogmas but also ridiculed sacred figures and religious practices, using his platform to provoke laughter and reflection on spiritual themes. Carlin used his influence and notoriety to spread his opinions, frequently citing the Bible in a satirical manner to highlight what he saw as hypocrisy and absurdities in organized religions. His irreverent and uncensored style made him a polarizing figure. He was admired by many for his courage to speak openly about taboo topics, but also faced strong opposition from those who viewed his jokes as blasphemous. However, Carlin's life was also marked by challenges and controversies. He struggled with health issues, including recurring heart problems, and battled addiction to drugs and alcohol. Despite his successful career, he experienced highs and lows, facing severe criticism and even censorship at times. Björk. Björk Gudmundsdóttir, known globally as Björk, is an Icelandic singer, songwriter, music producer, and actress renowned for her unique voice and experimental approach to music. Born on November 21, 1965, in Reykjavik, Iceland, Björk began her musical career in childhood and quickly stood out for her creativity and undeniable talent. While she is a respected figure in the music world, Björk is also known for her views and actions that have sometimes challenged and mocked religion and religious figures, especially Christianity. From the start of her career, Björk has shown a deep interest in spirituality and mysticism, often exploring themes like nature, the cosmos, and the human condition in her music. However, her spiritual views frequently diverge from established religious traditions, particularly Christian ones. In various interviews, Björk made statements that many considered blasphemous, including criticisms of the concept of a monotheistic God and the institutional structure of the church. One of Björk's most controversial statements was her open critique of the idea of a single male God, which she saw as a patriarchal imposition. She also expressed skepticism toward traditional biblical narratives and religious figures, including Jesus Christ. In one interview, Björk stated that religious stories often restrict freedom of thought and personal connection to the divine, promoting a limited and dogmatic view of spirituality. In addition to her statements, Björk has incorporated controversial elements into her performances and music videos. At her performance at the 2000 Cannes Film Festival, where she starred in Lars von Trier's film Dancer in the Dark, Björk used religious imagery provocatively, mixing Christian symbols with pagan and futuristic iconography. This iconoclastic approach drew criticism from religious groups who accused her of disrespect and blasphemy. Throughout her career, Björk has faced various personal and professional adversities, many of which some interpret as consequences of her challenging attitudes towards religion. She has experienced episodes of debilitating mental health, including crises of depression and anxiety, exacerbated by constant public and media pressure. Her tumultuous relationship with director Matthew Barney and their subsequent separation were also times of great personal suffering for the artist. Salvador Dali. Salvador Dali, one of the most celebrated and eccentric artists of the 20th century, is known for his surrealist works and extravagant behavior. However, he is also remembered for his controversial comments and attitudes towards religion, particularly Christianity. Dali, who was born into a Catholic family in Catalonia, Spain, often challenged and ridiculed religious symbols in his works and public statements. This irreverence did not go unnoticed and, as some believe, brought negative consequences throughout his life. Dali not only mocked the artistic conventions of his time but also religion. In several of his works, he portrayed religious figures in controversial ways, which led to severe criticism. A notable example is his painting The Sacrament, where he depicts a distorted and surreal version of the Last Supper, replacing Jesus' face with a luminous sphere. For many, this was seen as a blatant disrespect to the sanctity of the event and the figure of Christ. In addition to his works, Dali made provocative statements about religion. He called himself an agnostic and on several occasions stated that he saw religion as a form of social control and manipulation. In one of his most notorious statements, he said he preferred mocking religion rather than being controlled by it. These words, along with his works, contributed to his reputation as blasphemous and irreverent. The consequences of these attitudes began to manifest in his personal and professional life. In the art world, Dali faced ostracism from his contemporaries, who viewed his attitudes as inappropriate and disrespectful. The Surrealist group, led by André Breton, of which Dali was a part, eventually expelled him, accusing him of betraying the movement's principles and scandalous behavior. On a personal level, Dali experienced a series of misfortunes. His marriage to Gala, a notoriously tumultuous relationship, was marked by infidelities and constant conflicts. In his later years, he suffered from severe health problems, including a tremor that affected his ability to paint, a devastating blow for someone whose identity was so closely tied to his art. Moreover, Dali spent his final years in isolation, depressed and tormented by paranoia and fear of death. Some interpret these events as a form of divine retribution, a consequence of his constant provocations and disrespect towards religion. According to this view, Dali paid a high price for his irreverence, facing a series of difficulties that many consider a reflection of his disrespectful attitude towards the sacred. Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong, the revolutionary leader and founder of the People's Republic of China, is a prominent and controversial figure in world history. Known for his communist ideology and leading the Cultural Revolution, Mao is also remembered for his anti-religious stance and the harsh policies he implemented against religious practices in China. His view of religion as the opiate of the people and an obstacle to revolutionary progress led to devastating consequences for millions and, some believe, for himself. Mao was born in 1893 to a peasant family in Hunan province. During his youth, he witnessed the hardships faced by the poor and developed a critical view of traditional Chinese society, including religion. Influenced by Karl Marx and Vladimir Lenin, Mao saw religion as an oppressive tool used by the ruling classes to control the people. Throughout his political career, he made it a point to attack and dismantle existing religious structures in China. During the Cultural Revolution, which Mao initiated in 1966, Buddhist temples, Christian churches, and Muslim mosques were looted and destroyed. Clergy were persecuted, and believers were forced to renounce their faith under the threat of severe punishment. Mao and his followers promoted a cult of personality, replacing religious faith with devotion to the Communist Party and Mao himself. Religious practices were declared feudalistic and backward superstitions, incompatible with the new socialist state. Mao frequently mocked religion in his speeches and writings. In one of his well-known statements, he declared that religion is poison, claiming it poisoned people's minds and diverted them from the revolutionary path. This relentless stance against religion did not go unnoticed and brought harsh consequences for Chinese society, which suffered a significant erosion of its spiritual and cultural traditions. Beyond social and cultural consequences, some believe Mao's anti-religious stance brought him personal misfortunes. In his private life, Mao faced numerous difficulties. His personal relationships were tumultuous, and he had several marriages, all marked by conflict and infidelity. His relationship with Jian Qing, his fourth wife, was especially complicated and contributed to the political instability that followed his death. In his later years, Mao suffered from severe health problems. He developed lung and heart diseases and experienced significant cognitive decline. Despite being publicly idolized, Mao spent his final years in isolation, surrounded by growing distrust and paranoia. The Cultural Revolution, which he initiated to solidify his power, ended up leaving the country in chaos and causing mass suffering. These ancient and modern narratives serve as poignant reminders of the consequences of pride, blasphemy, and the rejection of one's own faith. May these lessons guide us toward a life of respect and reverence, helping us avoid the tragic mistakes of those mentioned here, who faced dark fates. Share your thoughts below and tell us a story you know about someone who has experienced something similar to the tales in these videos. May God bless you, and see you in the next video.